music. But now the stage is silent. The fire is fading, and Sharon is holding on to a love that's slowly slipping away. This isn't just about music. This is the final goodbye. Nobody was ready for Stay Tuned because it's all about to unfold. The rock royalty love story. There was chaos love, and a woman named Sharon before the wheelchairs, sadness and goodbye, and in the middle of it all, everyone called Ozzy Osbourne the Prince of Darkness. But Ozzy wasn't always famous. Most people thought he was done after Black Sabbath fired him in 1979. It's done washed. But Sharon stepped in and everything changed. She was more than just a girlfriend. She was his manager, his boss, and soon after his wife. She took his broken career and threw it back at the world like fireballs. Sharon was the one with the leash, while Ozzy was the wild one. Tight, they were more than just a couple. They worked like machines. Sharon made plans for the shows. The girl chose the band. She was in charge of the money. She ensured the lights stayed on while Ozzy screamed into the mics and broke the rules. She was iron if he was metal. When he screamed, she got stronger. Then the cameras showed up. At the start of the 2000s, their house became a movie set. The Osbournes were a huge hit on TV. People who watched couldn't believe what they saw. There was chaos everywhere, Ozzy rambling in the halls, Sharon and throwing hams over the fence, dogs barking, kids yelling, and so on. But lots of people liked it, since it was true and natural, and really messy. Nobody thought the love story would turn out the way it did. Not soft or sweet, but more like a go-kart without brakes. It did work, though. They didn't act fake, so it worked. Sharon didn't hide how bad things were. She got it done. She was like a general in stilettos when she ran their house, their business, and Ozzy's whole company. A lot of people laughed. There was cheering, but behind the scenes there were fights, trips to the hospital slip-ups, and tears Sharon didn't leave. Not when Ozzy did something wrong. Not when he went downhill. Not even when things were dangerous. She stayed all the time. It wasn't flowers and dinner dates that brought them together. It was made with substances, fame, lawsuits, blood, and rehab. Both of them were trying to stay alive. They fought the press, the world, and their own worst fears. But they stayed together, like a chain. If you break one, you break both. They ruled for years. Sharon ruled from behind the scenes while Ozzy roared on stage. They built a brand that was so well known that it didn't need to be explained. You saw Sharon and thought it was Ozzy. You thought it was Sharon when you heard Ozzy. They were that close, but all that glitz. It will not last forever. Now it's all beginning to break. There were no more red carpets. The trips were over. The house became less noisy, because the man who used to walk across stadiums can't even walk now. The same woman who used to be in charge of all of his money is now helping him get out of bed and counting his pills. That kingdom, that crazy, loud, crazy, hot kingdom they built together. From wild stages to hospital beds, Ozzy Osbourne's health is crumbling. But Sharon's shocking confession just flipped everything we thought we knew on its head. Ozzy's tragic health battle. Strangely enough, things began to move more slowly than anyone had thought. Not because Ozzy aged, but because something else, something much bigger than age, had crept in. The world learned what Sharon and Ozzy had been hiding for years in 2020. As Parkinson's, not a story, not a thought, a real report. But that wasn't where it began. Before the signs showed up. In 2019, Ozzy hurt himself when he fell at home. One slip, That was all it took. He didn't just fall, though. It messed up the metal plates in his spine that were there from an ATV accident in 2003. For years, pins and screws had kept his body together. What about that fall? It threw them off. It hurt a lot. There was real damage, and things got worse after that. He had to have surgery. Then another one. Then more. He wasn't able to bounce back like he used to. Everyone thought he was just taking a break, but he was really healing in quiet. He was hurt, broken, and slowly shutting down. Another blow came at the same time as all of this COVID. There was a bug that almost destroyed everything. It hit Ozzy when his body was already weak. Sharon said it nearly took his life. Other people were worried about coughs and fevers, but Ozzy was having a hard time breathing. But Parkinson's was the real storm. In the background, it was quiet and sneaky. It got loud after that. It made him lose his balance. He could not move because of it. He could no longer move his legs the way they used to. It got hard to walk. After that, it was impossible to walk. Sharon made it very clear. He can't walk anymore. He used to jump into crowds, stomp around on stage and scream into speakers. Now he's sitting in a chair because he can't stand up without help. His body is now slow and still after, being wild and fast before. This isn't a bruise that gets better over time. Parkinson's disease doesn't go away. Every year it gets stronger, goes deeper, and takes more. Ozzy can move around a little, sometimes. He can't move at all some days. It changes all the time. There isn't any trend, not a warning. He once said that his legs feel like they are tied down with bricks. Heavy. No use. As if they were never a part of him. But his mind is still there, even though his body is getting weaker. He is very aware of what is going on. That's one reason why it's so hard. He can see it, he knows it. He can remember what he was. He can still remember the noise, the lights, and the crowd. Now he just sits still most days and thinks about those times. He often talks about how to stay alive. That's not at all how people on magazine covers act, but in a real honest way. He says that living is his legacy, that you never give up on something you love. You figure it out. But what happens when the biggest body can't support a famous voice? That's the question. No one wants to ask. Since it's not about reunion shows or hidden albums anymore, the goal is to keep him relaxed. It's about getting through the day. Sharon is aware of this. She's not making plans for the next big thing. She is looking at him. Breathe. He is being held still by her. She doesn't want time to happen. Too quickly, Sharon sees the real Ozzy now, while everyone else remembers the crazy one who screamed and laughed on stage. Peaceful, still quite worn out. The story doesn't end here, though, because Ozzy is making plans right now. Big thing, something last. Sharon's emotional burden. Sharon Osbourne was everywhere once upon a time. Everywhere she goes on stage, behind the scenes, and talks, and on TV. She works, watches, and builds something. She wasn't just married to Ozzy. She was his partner, his boss, and his guardian. But now, things look different now, because she's no longer standing next to a stage. She's sitting next to a hospital bed. Everything changed after Ozzy was told what was wrong. Sharon stopped being the boss behind his business. She became the woman he held all night. She stopped planning his shows and started planning when he would take his medicines. Instead of going to meetings, she helped him get ready in the morning. It wasn't a loud shift. It did not have cameras. It took place right now in peace completely. It has not been easy. She has talked about it in small talks. Her voice got softer and slower, despite the brave and fiery Sharon that people knew and loved. She said that she doesn't get much sleep. A lot of the time she worries. Some nights she does nothing but watch him breathe. She stays close some days when she doesn't know how to help. Right now, she's not following a plan. No pass for backstage. It was just her and Ozzy, and neither of them had planned for it to happen. She's to be strong and public, though. Stay calm, always in order. She smiles when she talks to fans. The news she gives sounds good. But behind that calm voice is a woman who is trying not to cry. The man who used to be able to jump over stages can't even walk from one room to the next anymore. And she's the one moving him step by step, inch by inch. Everyone remembers something she said, that Ozzy is still there. There is still a spark, but it's like seeing your cat get put in a cage. That's how it seems. It's like a huge, strong thing is stuck inside a body that won't listen any longer. So does Sharon's body, just like Ozzy's. She does not appear on as many shows. She doesn't walk the red carpet. That girl doesn't laugh or talk as much. She's giving up the big moments and the attention. Slowly, kindly, in peace, she's not saying she's leaving her job. It's not something she says out loud, but everyone can sense it. She's moving back to be there for him. She has chosen to be unseen. That could be the real goodbye that no one saw coming. Because while everyone is thinking about Ozzy and what he's lost going through and saying goodbye to someone else, is saying goodbye right next to him. It's not loud. It's not on stage. In the dark, when she wipes his face, fixes his blanket, or holds his arm to help him balance. It's happening in the background. The woman who used to run his whole career is now keeping it in check. She is no longer building. She's giving up, as in cameras, about contracts, about the business. She built herself. She does it without saying anything. But let's talk about something that no one else is. This isn't just Ozzy's goodbye. It's also hers. You haven't heard what they have planned next, if you think that's the end of the story. Since the Osbournes aren't going away just yet, one more night is left, one more step, one more thing that everyone has been waiting for. It's taking place where it all started. Ozzy can't walk. Sharon's stepping back, but a final plan is unfolding. What they've been hiding will shock you. Are you ready for the truth? From Prince of Darkness to Fragile Fighter. People used to say that Ozzy Osbourne didn't just walk onto stages, he charged them. He scared everyone by biting off the head of a bat in front of a screaming crowd. He caused chaos at every live show. That wasn't just how he dressed. That was who he was. They had black eyeliner screams that could shake stadiums and wild movements that made them look more like animals than people. That was Ozzy. That was the Dark Prince. But now he's not moving that way anymore. He can't. The man who used to jump over speakers is now just sitting there because his body is too stiff to move. It takes longer for the same voice to rise that used to tear through arenas. Parkinson's disease didn't make a lot of noise. It crept up on him, slowly and gently, taking away his strength, energy, and balance one thing at a time. It has now taken away his ability to walk. People remember Ozzy, who didn't follow the rules. It's not like that, though, behind the scenes. He is not going to band practice today. Instead, he is going to physical therapy. Instead of going to different places, he's being helped to move from room to room. There are no loud crowds. There is only quiet and struggle. It's no longer about rock and roll. The idea is for him to keep his hands steady and stretch his legs. People still talk about the TV shows, the bat, the yelling. But today's Ozzy is not loud. Not as fast. Sharon hid the truth for a very long time. Not to trick people, but to keep him safe. People should remember him for who he was, not how he looked in a hospital gown. She did fewer interviews, turned down job offers, and stayed out of the spotlight. She didn't say much when she did. Easy. Be careful. Things got worse after that. It didn't feel right to hide it anymore. That's when they finally chose to let go. They talked about what was found. The falls, the surgery. The hurt Sharon made it clear we were sure we could handle it. We had no idea Parkinson's could be so mean. That phrase really hit me. It proved how bad this fight really is. They weren't just having bad days. It was like living in a whole new world. Ozzy isn't as loud and flashy as he used to be. He's not stomping on the stage or making a mess in hotel rooms. He is sitting in a chair and concentrating on every move. He wants one more good day. He's still fighting, though. He's still not quit, even though his body is getting slower. He is still very much present in any room. The lightning is still there, but it's not as loud now. It's hard to shake the picture. The man who used to wear black and yell into the night is now being helped to his seat and getting used to a life that is quiet. Sharon used to help him release albums that set records, and now she helps him adjust his pillows and keep track of his medicines. It's not just a change. Everything has changed, but now comes the part that no one saw coming. Ozzy is still going, because something is coming, even though it hurts and is quiet. Something that might make everything different. One last night. One last crowd. The Prince of Darkness still has one more show to put on. It's not just a show. It's a farewell you'll never forget. Ozzy's last performance. This is the most important thing Ozzy Osbourne has done in decades. The scene is set, the date is set, and the moment is big. As of July 5, TWP 1025, Ozzy will play his last show in Birmingham, the city that raised him. They're calling it Back to the Beginning, because that's exactly what it is. A moment of coming full circle, going back to the beginning to say goodbye. This isn't just another rock show. This is real-time history being made, even stranger. The original Black Sabbath band will be there making the whole thing even stranger. Tony Iommi, Ozzy, Geezer Butler, and Bill Ward. They're getting back together. After all the years of stress, bad blood, and breaks. For one night, one show saying goodbye. This was not expected to happen. A lot of people thought it was not possible. It's real, though, even though everything says it's not. Birmingham is more than just a background. It's a sign. It's where Ozzy walked as a teen, where he got into trouble, and where he thought of bigger things. This concert isn't just happening in any place. This is a man going back to the beginning of his chaos, to close the book on the story that made him famous. It's not going to look like the other shows. It's likely that Ozzy won't be standing. He probably won't move around much. He might be sitting down, perhaps on a throne. He might be done in a way that keeps him steady, while the music moves around him. But no one is going to see him jump. They're going to see him. Be there. They're coming to hear that voice one last time. Not just because this is Ozzy's last show. It's the end. It's for him, for Sharon, for the fans, for everyone who has followed his path through fire success and failure. Sharon's last show to plan is now. Her last job was as a boss. This is the last time we see her in the light. No more reservations, there will be no more trips. Nothing but quiet. Take care. This is the real-time end for the fans. People who have been with him for 40 or 50 years. Some people who saw him when he was at his best will now see him at his worst. There's nothing sad about it. We're not even having a party. Just a moment. No film, live stream, or memory will ever be able to bring that moment back to life. And there's one question that everyone is eager to ask. Can a man who can't walk still get everyone in a crowd to stand up? This act is very moving because of that. It's no longer about moving. It's about being there. Ozzy's body may be slowing down, but just being around him is still very powerful. His voice still holds pain, strength, and stories from a long time ago. People in that crowd will not only listen when he sings, they will feel it in their bodies. Due to the fact that heavy metal came from Birmingham, it's almost time for Ozzy's last applause. The voice that carried a generation. Ozzy Osbourne played more than just heavy metal. He helped make it happen. He made music that was darker, bigger, and riskier than anyone had heard before with Black Sabbath. His voice wasn't clear or good. It was real. Somehow, people loved it, even though it looked like something from a bad dream. It seemed real. It was crazy. And something began that is still shaking the world. Then Ozzy didn't slow down when Sabbath broke up. With records like Blizzard of Oz and Diary of a Madman and songs like Crazy Train that never got old, he went out on his own. And when other rock stars stopped making music, he started Ozfest, an event that made heavy music feel welcome again. A spot where old fans could scream and new bands could play. It was more than just a tour. It was an event, a full-on metal playground. It was never just music that Ozzy did, though. It was about the people who stuck with him. He didn't sing for people who were neat. He sang for the kids who didn't fit in or seemed normal, the ones that didn't belong anywhere else. His flaws and imperfections made people see themselves in him. His fans did more than just watch him. They thought they were him. What about Sharon? She made sure that Link would always be there. Behind the crazy, she built the business. When Ozzy couldn't run it, she did. She planned the trips, fought for his rights, and ran the show from behind the scenes. His voice got quieter, and hers got louder. The world would never forget him because of her. Sharon isn't just looking back now that his health is getting worse. She is getting ready for what will happen next. She is helping to make documentaries, tribute shows, and special talks that show the real Ozzy. Not just the crazy guy who bit people and crashed into the stage, but also the broken kid from Birmingham who never gave up. She's also started to talk about things, besides music, about taking care of older people, having a long-term illness, about what it's like to see someone you care about slowly go away in front of you. One time, she said something that made everyone quiet. He's been through 10 times more than enough to take him down, but this is different. That's the part that hurts. Sharon isn't just in charge of Ozzy's business anymore. She's taking care of his memory, his comfort, his end. And while everyone watches him fade, something else is being missed. Sharon also changes. She is not as angry as she used to be as a boss. She's changed into something else. Peaceful better, still strong, but not at all like before. Her goodbye is quiet. It's not on the front of books. It's going on behind closed doors. The way she takes a step back, she seems to watch more and talk less. She's not just leaving Ozzy behind. This is her farewell to the version of herself that existed because of him. The world talks about his impact, but no one asks about hers. But wait, there's still one more place we need to go in this story, because Ozzy was hurt before he went on stage. It began a long time before the lights found him. Once again, they were in a house full of noise, fear, and something much darker than fame. Want to know where it all began? Let's find out more. The Dark Foundation. He was just a quiet kid who lived in a world that was loud and dangerous before Ozzy Osbourne became popular and had loud fans and bright lights. In the past, he wasn't very well known. He grew up in Birmingham's working-class area, Aston. He learned how to live a life without dreams while living in a simple house with his 5 brothers. Even though his parents worked hard, the house wasn't quiet. It was also very loud and tense, and there were things in it that no child should ever have to see. Also, going to school wasn't a way to escape either. He had trouble reading, and writing was picked on a lot, and fell behind in almost everything he tried to do in school. He hid the fact that he had been assaulted by bigger boys for a long time, even though he was only 11 years old at the time. I kept having that pain come back to haunt me. At the end of each day it got heavier and heavier on him because it stayed with him. Things kept getting worse for him, and his depression got so bad that he attempted to take his own life more than once. After he turned 13, the problem got even worse. He began stealing things. He didn't care that he might get caught or that he was following the rules. The only thing he needed was to do something. A nearby store was broken into and Ozzy's dad wouldn't pay the fine. He went to jail. It lasted 6 weeks in Winston Green. It was cold, icy, and dangerous outside. It didn't change him in any way. Strange things did happen after that, though. He heard the Fab Four. He felt alive after hearing one song. The music was fun, but the way it made you feel was even better. He thought for the first time that maybe he wasn't who he seemed to be. There are no thieves at all. I'm not a nobody. A creative person. One who sings, "It's a Star." The pain he was experiencing was not alleviated by that moment, but it did show him the way. An explanation for why you should come out of hiding. Ozzy wasn't always like this. At first, he was feeling pain. Because of this, his fight today is so important. Parkinson's disease is not the first thing that has tried to hurt him. Since the beginning, he has been involved in a conflict with them. What does the next part talk about? Things started to go in a very different direction when it became clear that the lie wasn't coming from somewhere else, holding it all together. The big story would be Ozzy's fight with Parkinson's, but the real story is being shared behind closed doors by the people who were always by his side. It used to be loud and crazy on reality TV, but now his family is quiet. There are no longer any webcams. Now there will be more order. Help them out. It is quiet, constant and never-ending. Jack, his only son, knows more than anyone else. In 2012, Jack was told he had multiple sclerosis, a disease that also hurts the nervous system. Like Parkinson's, it moves and wears away slowly. Jack had seen his dad lose control of his body while trying to keep it in check. When you look into a mirror, it's like time moves faster. Jack, on the other hand, doesn't try to be liked. He is here right now. He can be trusted. He also knows what it's like to fight every day against something that can't be seen. Kelly Osbourne has stayed close to her mother, even though she is usually the brave one. She's not the loud, defiant daughter from the Osbournes anymore. She's grown up and more grounded, and she's always there in the background, helping, comforting, and filling the house with enough warmth to keep things from falling apart. It's her job to check in on Sharon and talk to her when she needs to, even though she's not related to anyone in the family. Amy, who is the quietest and oldest, stays out of the spotlight. It was never her thing to follow fame or watch reality TV. That doesn't mean she's not up to date, though. She's around. She was quiet, nice and busy in her own way. Not everyone uses a camera to show how much they care. Surprisingly, as Ozzy's cancer got worse, the family got closer. This is not the chaotic and volatile Osbourne family of the early 2000s. More subdued. This is a family that has been through the worst and has decided to stay close even more. The fights, the distance, and the other things that were bothering Ozzy at that moment all went away. The Osbourne family is once again a team not being shown, not to show off only for each other. Jack's steady hand, Kelly's mental glue, Amy's quiet strength. Sharon, the rock in the middle of it all, is dealing with the hardest part of her life, slowly losing the love of her life. If this helped you, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. And hey, click on the next video popping up on your screen, your personal growth journey. Yeah, it's just getting started.